Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of What to Read Today. As per usual, I have brought you a book that, whilst reading, I kept thinking to myself and wondering, how does someone's life change so dramatically in an instant? Like, 1 minute you are running, the next minute, you are burnt. 65% of your body is burnt. How? Well, you get to discover how and all the after that has happened since that event in this book. Unmasked by Turia Pitt and Bryce Corbett. Unmasked, Turia Pitt and Bryce Corbett. See, listen, this book. It's one of those stories you read or you hear about that makes you to stop, pause, and reflect. It's a story of a young woman, what I would consider to be at the prime of her life, working, having fun with friends, and just being young and happy. She decides to go on a marathon. You know, very fit lady. She's trying to extend herself. She enjoys running. And whilst running, a fire breaks out. There were other marathon runners as well in that situation. However, because she had her headphone on, her face down, she couldn't see on time the fire that was approaching really fast. Those behind her, other runners, could see, but she couldn't see as quick as possible. And that led to her life changing. It led to someone who used to look one way, now beginning to look another way. In this book, on Marx, Turia Pitt introduces us to her life before the accident, what she enjoyed doing, growing up, her parents, her lifestyle, how ambitious she is, or well, she still is, how ambitious she is, her partner, Michael. I think everyone will get to fall in love with Michael. Her recovery, the accident, the harrowing journey of just trying to re-enter into society and having to accept and live with what she looks like now. Let me give you or show you something. I can't stop looking at this photo. So this is Turia and Michael, her boyfriend at the time and partner right now, what she used to look like. Beautiful lady, her smile is gorgeous. And then at the end, following the whole fire incident and situation, this is what she now looks like. Still very beautiful. But this, while I was preparing for this episode and recording, I kept asking myself, yes, I've read a lot of stories which I have brought on this channel of people whose life turned around whilst they were doing a sport or a car accident when they were overseas or they just slumped and they discovered cancer and things like that. Yeah. And I asked myself, how is this story different from the others? What is it about Turia's story that grabbed my imagination, my thoughts? And as I finished reading and went on to Google her, I found, voila, her story has also grabbed the attention of Australia and globally. So I'm not the only one. But what is it about the story? Why is it so fascinating? Why do we love the story? It's because it makes us want to do better. It's almost as if Turia is holding us accountable. She's saying to us, this happened to me. And afterwards, I have gone on to run marathons. Iron Man, I've done this, I've raised money for charity, I have started this online forum, champions, something champions, where she encourages people. She's done a lot more. So you and I, who have not been burnt, what's our story? What's our excuse? I think that for me is what got me. Turia also reminds us about so many things we take for granted, and this is always a recurring theme from the books I introduce on this channel and I read, where they keep saying to us, or to us, I mean the reader. I mean, those of us who have not gone through any of these similar episode, we don't know or we take for granted some of the very basic and simple things of life. Example, how you use your thumb. We just use our fingers for stuff. But if you've been burnt and you've lost your fingers, and then you need to unbutton a shirt or braid your hair, then you realize the frustration that comes with not having a thumb, or you used to run before you enjoy going out for a walk and you have your feet or your leg amputated. Frustration sets in. You cannot regulate your body temperature, so the room has to be kept at a very high temperature. Frustration sets in. You used to be independent and capable of doing things. Now you depend on people for every single thing. Frustration sets in. Turia Pitt's Unmasked is a book I did enjoy reading. Again, it's one of those books that calls us to do better. That actually asks of us to stop limiting ourselves. Actually, Turia said that in this book. Stop limiting yourself, challenge yourself, do things out of the ordinary. I remember there was a part of the book where she says, if you're used to running 5 kilometers, running 10 kilometers is not a challenge. A challenge will be running a marathon. And I go, But that's true. I used to walk five kilometers, 10 kilometers per day. Walking 20 kilometers is not a challenge. A challenge is something which is out of the ordinary for you, something which is almost terrifying to think about. Unmasked by Turia Pitt was a good memoir. I did enjoy it. Take home message from this book will be community. Turia talked a lot about the community she had that helped her to recover. First and foremost, her partner, Michael, who went ahead to propose even after the fire incident, after all the physical changes, still went ahead to say, I want to marry you. So there's community there. There is her mother who stood by her or by her bedside all through these recovering years. There is the people from her hometown, Uladula in New South Wales, Molly Mook. So she had community. She had people who just loved on her, who supported her, who told her you can do it. When it seemed so difficult, having to do the physio and the therapy and learning to walk again and learning to do stuff by herself. So many times she wanted to give up, but her community stood strong by her and reminded her of who she is. She's ambitious. She's someone you tell, no, you can't do this, and she wants that the more. Take home message will be community. We all need community. We should find community. And especially so for myself, after reading Turia's book, I started to ask myself, if something similar were to happen to me, who are my community? Who can I lean on? Who will be there for me no matter what? Standing strong all through this whole, recovery and pain. And trust me, it did give me food for thoughts. And to have community is to also be community. So I'm taking away from this book the message to be community and also find community. That's that on this episode. Till next time, I bring you another exciting book. Keep well, keep reading, and let me hear. I always ask if there's a recommendation of a memoir you've read of someone whose life changed and you think I should read and talk about it. Let me know. Okay? Take care, keep well, and keep reading. Take care.